Troy burned once before Paris ever laid eyes on Helen, before Achilles ever raised his spear over its walls. And the man who tore it down wasn't fighting for a woman or a war. He was collecting a debt. That man was Hercules, son of Zeus himself, and already the most feared and celebrated hero in the Greek world. He'd strangled a lion with his bare hands, tamed monsters, and completed labors no mortal was ever meant to survive. But for all his strength, Hercules wanted something simple: respect. He lived by a warrior's code. A promise made was a promise kept, and woe to anyone who broke their word to him. On one voyage home from a distant labor, his ship passed near the coast of a city so grand it seemed built by giants. Troy, with walls so massive that legend said no mortal hands had raised them. Beside him stood Telamon, a fellow warrior and one of the few men Hercules truly trusted. Telamon was no demigod, but he was fearless, loyal, and always the first to volunteer for danger. The legend of those walls was no exaggeration. Years earlier, the gods Poseidon and Apollo had actually built them themselves in service to Troy's king, as part of a bargain struck between gods and men. That king was Laomedon, ruler of Troy, proud, ambitious, and utterly convinced that even gods could be cheated. When the walls were finished, he simply refused to pay Poseidon and Apollo the wages he had promised. It was an insult no god would forgive. Apollo answered by sending a plague to sicken the city, and Poseidon answered with something far worse. He unleashed a monstrous sea serpent to rise from the waves and devour Troy's people whenever it pleased. Desperate to save his people, Laomedon consulted an oracle, and the answer he received was brutal. The only way to stop the monster's rampage was to sacrifice his own daughter to it. That daughter was Hesione, young, gentle, and utterly innocent in her father's failure. She had never broken an oath in her life, yet she would be the one to pay for her father's greed. So, on a gray, storm-heavy morning, Hesione was led down to the rocks below the city and chained there, offered up to the waves, while her people watched from the walls in grieving silence. It was at this exact moment that Hercules and Telamon's ship happened to sail past the coast. From the deck, they spotted the girl chained alone on the rocks, and they knew immediately something was terribly wrong. They landed and questioned the frightened Trojans nearby, who quickly explained everything. The broken promise to the gods, the plague, the monster, and the girl now offered as the price for her father's pride. For Hercules, this was exactly the kind of injustice he could not walk away from. A monster terrorizing the innocent, a girl about to die for someone else's sin. This was precisely why heroes existed. He marched straight to King Laomedon and made him an offer. Hercules would kill the sea serpent himself, but in exchange, he wanted the king's famous immortal horses, a divine gift from Zeus, said to be the fastest and strongest in the world. With his daughter's life and his city's survival on the line, Laomedon agreed at once. It seemed like an easy bargain to make. After all, a promise costs nothing until the moment it must be kept. As the tide rose that afternoon, the water near the shore began to churn violently, and the sea serpent surfaced at last, a creature the length of a warship, with jaws wide enough to swallow a man whole. Hercules waded straight into the surf to meet it, club in hand, striking blow after crushing blow against its scaled hide, while the beast thrashed and roared and tried to drag him under. After a savage struggle, Hercules drove the beast back and finally beat it into stillness in the shallows. Then he broke Hesiane's chains himself and carried her to dry land, alive and safe. The people of Troy erupted in joy on the walls above. Their princess was saved. The plague and terror were finally over, and for one shining moment, Hercules was hailed as the city's greatest savior. With the deed done, Hercules returned to Laomedon's palace to collect his reward, the promised immortal horses, the price they had agreed on before the fight even began. A king's broken oath. Just as he had cheated the gods years before, Laomedon now cheated Hercules too. He claimed the horses were too precious to give away, offered feeble excuses, and had his guards escort the hero out of the city empty-handed. Hercules walked away in silence, but inside, he burned with fury. He had risked his life to save this city's princess, and its king had repaid him with the same betrayal he'd shown the gods themselves. He swore, then and there, that Troy would answer for it. But Hercules could not turn back and attack alone. A debt of honor this large demanded a proper reckoning. So in the time that followed, he gathered a small band of warriors willing to sail with him for one purpose: to make Laomedon pay. Telamon, still loyal and still furious on his friend's behalf, was the first to answer the call. Together they loaded their ships with soldiers, weapons, and one single-minded purpose, and set sail once more for the shores of Troy. Hercules returns for vengeance. This time, there would be no bargain and no mercy for broken promises. The ships landed on the beach below the city, and Hercules led his small force straight toward Troy's massive gates. In the chaos of the assault, it was Telamon, not Hercules, who found a weak point and broke through the wall first. For a tense moment, Hercules bristled with jealousy at being outdone by his own friend. But Hercules quickly set his pride aside. Rather than turn on his loyal friend, he honored Telamon's courage on the spot, and the two pressed forward into the burning city together, side by side as always. Inside the walls, the fighting turned savage. Troy's defenders were overwhelmed by the fury of Hercules' assault, and the city that had once seemed unbreakable began to fall, street by street. Hercules cut his way straight to the palace, where he finally faced King Laomedon himself. There was no bargaining left to be done, only the reckoning for a debt 2 times broken. Hercules killed Laomedon there, ending the reign of the king who had cheated gods and heroes alike. In the chaos that followed, most of Laomedon's sons fell in the fighting too, leaving the royal family shattered. Only one royal child remained, young Podarces, Laomedon's youngest son. As soldiers moved to finish what the battle had started, Hesione, the very princess Hercules had saved from the sea monster, ran forward and begged for her brother's life. Hercules remembered the debt he owed her too. After all, she had trusted him with her life on that rock by the sea. He agreed to spare the boy, but only if Hesione could offer something in exchange, just as any bargain required. Hesione removed her own golden veil and handed it over as ransom for her brother's freedom. From that moment, the boy was given a new name, Priam, meaning the ransomed one, a name he would carry for the rest of his life. The gates of Troy fell. By dawn, the city that gods themselves had once walled off from harm lay broken and smoldering. Laomedon's pride and the oath he refused to honor not once but twice had cost him his throne, his sons, and his life. As reward for his bravery and for being the first to break through the walls, Hercules gave Telamon the greatest prize of the whole campaign, Hesione herself, to take home as his wife.